Welcome to Learn English with Story and Conversation. The Chronicles of the Lost Locket, the Time-Traveling Turtle, and the Cookie that Saved the World. Once upon a time, in a small town nestled in the heart of a dense forest, there lived a young girl named Lila. Lila was known for her curiosity and her love for solving mysteries. One day, while exploring her grandmother's attic, she stumbled upon an old, dusty chest. Inside, she found a beautifully crafted silver locket, its surface engraved with intricate patterns of stars and moons. As soon as Lila touched the locket, the room began to spin, and with a sudden flash of light, she found herself standing in the middle of a bustling medieval marketplace. Confused and disoriented, Lila quickly realized that the locket had transported her back in time. The people around her wore robes and tunics, and the air was filled with the aroma of freshly baked bread and the sound of merchants calling out their wares. Before she could fully grasp her situation, a talking turtle named Terence approached her. Terence wore a tiny top hat and carried a pocket watch. "Ah, you must be the chosen one," he exclaimed, his voice surprisingly deep for a turtle. "The locket has brought you here to help us. There's no time to lose." Lila, though bewildered, was intrigued. "Help you with what?" she asked. Terence sighed and explained, "The kingdom of Eldoria is in grave danger. The evil sorceress Malvara has stolen the time gem, a powerful artifact that controls the flow of time. Without it, time will collapse, and all worlds, past, present, and future, will merge into chaos. You must retrieve the gem and return it to its rightful place." Determined to help, Lila agreed. Terence led her to a hidden portal at the edge of the marketplace. The portal shimmered with an otherworldly light, and before Lila could ask any more questions, Terence nudged her forward. They both stepped through the portal and found themselves in a dark, eerie forest. The trees were twisted and gnarled, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. The air was thick with fog, and the only sound was the distant hooting of an owl. As they walked deeper into the forest, Lila noticed something strange. Each step she took caused the scenery around her to change. One moment, she was walking through a dense forest, and the next, she was in a vast desert under a scorching sun. As Lila and Terence approached, the gargoyles came to life and blocked their path. "No one may enter the castle without solving the riddle of the stones," one of the gargoyles declared in a gravelly voice. Lila's heart pounded as she tried to think. "What's the riddle?" she asked. The second gargoyle spoke, "I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with wind. What am I?" Lila thought for a moment, then her eyes lit up. "An echo!" she exclaimed. The gargoyles grunted in approval and stepped aside, allowing Lila and Terence to enter the castle. Inside, the castle was even more magnificent, with walls adorned with shimmering tapestries and chandeliers made of diamonds. But there was no time to admire the beauty. Lila knew they had to find Malvara and the time gem. They made their way through the labyrinthine halls of the castle until they reached a massive door at the end of a long corridor. The door was decorated with ancient runes and glowed with a sinister red light. "This must be it," Terence whispered. Lila pushed the door open, and they entered a vast chamber filled with swirling mists. At the center of the chamber stood Malvara, a tall, elegant woman with jet-black hair and eyes as cold as ice. In her hand, she held the time gem, its light pulsating with power. They made their way through the labyrinthine halls of the castle until they reached a massive door at the end of a long corridor. The door was decorated with ancient runes and glowed with a sinister red light. "This must be it," Terence whispered. Lila pushed the door open, and they entered a vast chamber filled with swirling mists. At the center of the chamber stood Malvara, a tall, elegant woman with jet-black hair and eyes as cold as ice. In her hand, she held the time gem, its light pulsating with power. "So, the little girl and her turtle have come to challenge me," Malvara sneered. "How amusing." Lila stood her ground, her heart racing. "We're here to take back the time gem and restore balance to the world." Malvara laughed, a sound that echoed through the chamber like the crack of thunder. "You think you can defeat me? The gem's power is mine to command, and with it, I shall rule all of time." Just as Malvara raised the time gem to unleash its power, Terence pulled out a small, seemingly insignificant object from his pocket. A cookie. But this wasn't just any cookie. It was a magical cookie baked by the great sage of the forest. "Lila, catch!" Terence shouted, tossing the cookie to her. Lila caught the cookie and instinctively knew what to do. She threw the cookie at Malvara, and as it touched the gem, a brilliant light exploded from the contact. The gem began to crack, and Malvara screamed as its power backfired on her. In a blinding flash, the gem shattered into 1,000 pieces, and Malvara vanished into thin air. The mists in the chamber cleared, revealing a beautiful garden bathed in sunlight. Time had been restored, and the worlds were safe once more. Lila looked around, amazed by the transformation. "We did it," she whispered, still in disbelief. Terence nodded, his pocket watch ticking contentedly. "Yes, thanks to you, the balance has been restored. But there's one more thing left to do." He led Lila to a small shrine in the garden, where a new time gem had formed from the shards of the old one. Lila placed the locket beside the gem, and a soft glow enveloped them both, fusing them into a single powerful artifact. "The time locket," Terence explained, "a gift from the universe to its guardian. With it, you can visit any time or place you wish." Lila smiled, feeling a sense of peace and fulfillment. "Thank you, Terence. But I think it's time for me to go home." With a final wave, Lila closed her eyes and touched the locket. The world around her blurred, and when she opened her eyes again, she was back in her grandmother's attic, the locket safely in her hand. As she looked around the familiar room, Lila knew that her life would never be the same. She had saved time itself, and though her adventure was over, she knew that more mysteries awaited her in the future. And so, with the time locket around her neck and a heart full of courage, Lila stepped out of the attic, ready for whatever adventures lay ahead.
Thanks for watching my video. Please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon.